Hello, everyone, and welcome to the inaugural episode of Sprues and Sources, the show where I ramble on about vehicles, armies, and logistics while past me struggles to get modeled plastic to behave. I wasn't actually sure how I wanted to start this first episode. Did I want to do something flashy like the Hellcat or Easy 8? Did I want to be controversial with any of the German cats? Or did I want to wade into the discourse around the T-34? What I settled on, however, was something much more understated, yet equally as important to the war effort. That vehicle, of course, has to be the M3 Halftrack. A lot of ink, both digital and physical, has been spilled about the mechanization of the Wehrmacht at the start of the war, and make no mistake, it was an incredibly mechanized army for 1939. However, 5 years later, when the Allies would wade onto the beaches of Normandy, this was no longer the case. Not even close, actually. By the end of the war, the United States would produce in the ballpark of 800,000 deuce-and-a-half trucks, whereas the Germans never produced more than 150,000 Opel Blitzes, and total truck stockpiles would never crack 300,000. The average Wehrmacht soldier rolled into France on their Chevrolets, whereas every American division had around 1,500 trucks. Trucks are great and all. No, really, they're incredible for logistics. But we're talking about armored half-tracks, and how do the two nations compare in that regard? Well, the short answer is that they don't at all compare. Germany, across its various half-tracks and variants, would produce somewhere between 15 and 20,000, depending on what sources you use. The Americans produced 53,000 M3s in its various configurations. Around 15,000 of these would be dedicated APCs, the actual troop carriers designed to get Joes to and from the front, and shoot at things for a bit when they got there. The rest would be ammo carriers, tank destroyers, mortar carriers, self-propelled guns, anti-aircraft trucks, and in some cases supply vehicles and ambulances. But I'm building an M3 APC here, so that's what we're going to focus on for the remainder of the video. Briefly going over the concept of a half-track, it was a vehicle with forward propulsion provided by a track system and steering provided by a traditional wheel steering system. The name is actually all-encompassing here. It's a half-track system. This gave it good cross-country handling without the full mechanical complexity of differential steering that fully tracked systems need. It was also quite speedy apparently, able to hit up to 45 miles an hour on the road, which it did liberally during the race through the Rhine and the Ruhr Pocket collapse. While it would really shine in France and Germany, not to mention its usage in the USSR, it got its start in the deserts of North Africa, which was a less than auspicious start for it. Like many things in the US Army, it didn't actually do very well in Torch and Tunisia as a whole. A lot of this had to do with Uncle Sam trying to learn in 3 months the lessons it had taken the Brits and Commonwealth 3 years to learn. Up until Torch, the bulk of America's strategy and tactics were informed by the Louisiana maneuvers. These were a series of mock battles and engagements the US Army fought with itself to gain some experience in large-scale troop movements and primarily existed to find ways to counter the German blitz tactics. It wouldn't only take place in Louisiana, but that is where the bulk of the exercise would take place, given the name. While it did provide the generals ample amounts of experience maneuvering and tracking huge bodies of troops, the fact that no one was actually shooting each other led to some ideas being developed that were fine enough in theory but fell apart a bit in practice, but that's a story for another video. Importantly for the M3, however, it put on display its reliability, speed, decent armor, and ability to take 13 close friends in an HMG to the front lines. Unfortunately for the poor old infantry, it showed off its reliability, speed, armor, and ability to take 13th French to the front line, and overextension of these vehicles in the opening stages of Tunisia would lead to the M3 earning the nickname Purple Heart Boxes, as the half-inch armor would be proof against light and medium machine guns, but might as well have been non-existent against autocannons and light field guns. Field experience would be applied, however, and changes to doctrine and tactics would result in much better user experience in Italy and France, being beloved by both their crews for their mechanical reliability and their soldiers for being both a semi-safe place to sit and an opportunity to not walk for a while. The Mod Deuce it carried around was also a nice bonus as well. Trying to figure out what weapons were used on an American vehicle, or any vehicle issued to any infantry for that matter, is a little bit of a fool's errand. I can tell you that officially the M3 carried an M2 50 cal and perhaps a few 19 30 cals. I can then tell you that I have seen pictures of virtually every weapon under the sun sticking out of the top of these things. Flamethrowers, BARs, rifles, even a tube rocket launcher that some inspired pioneers found a way to affix. It also had racks for carrying landmines, which are the circular things you see found on the side of this model. Its adaptability and stability meant that it could provide the Joes with everything they would need on the front lines. Its armor gave it the ability to stick around and fight for a bit, and its speed meant it could get out of dodge when it needed to. Its overall design was exactly what a mechanized army was looking for in a battle wagon. The combined arms tactics developed in the 30s and 40s demanded changes to virtually all aspects of modern militaries. Supply systems were modernized and motorized, draft animals for towing guns were replaced by dedicated artillery tractors, infantry were carried in trucks, and mechanized forces needed better ways to keep up with the tanks. Hundreds of tasks were created that hadn't existed before, and the M3 series would meet them all. It could fill virtually any task assigned to it and would continue to do so worldwide over a 50-year career. The M3 would be deployed to every theater of the war and would see service in just about every army, to include the Germans even capturing a few. To the Joes, it was a symbol of relief. To the Soviets, it was a symbol of the unity of the Allies. To the Germans, it was a symbol of the might and dedication of the Allied armies pushing them back across their borders. And to the Italian and French civilians, it was a sign that liberation had arrived. People will argue until the end of time about what vehicle was the best in battle, but real heads know that vehicles like the M3 were what won the war. Hey, thanks for tuning into the first episode of my new series, Sprues and Sources. I've wanted to do something like this for a while, but needed a good enough camera for it. Still tweaking the setup a little bit, so expect to see some changes to it. Not exactly something I can reshoot, so there'll be a lot more of the struggles in this series, especially in the video aspect. I wanted to start with something slightly more understated in this series, something you might not think about, and I had an M3 from the Band of Brothers set. Almost all the information from this episode came from the M3 Halftrack, 1940 to 1973 by Steven Zaloga, an absolute goldmine for anything and everything you could want to know about it, and Zaloga does an incredible job of making it digestible. A rarity in this field. I have a few more planned and coming up, so keep an eye out for those. I actually build all these on stream, actually. You can swing by and check it out at twitch.tv/spiritofthunder. No fixed schedule, my life's way too chaotic for that. But next time will be American Airborne Forces, so everyone stay safe and have a great one, folks.